Welcome back to Beast Wars Wednesday. I am your host, Decepticon Doug. He is your host, Predacon Paul.
And today, we dive deep to the depth of the charge. I felt like I was going somewhere, but then But we're deep.
We're reviewing Deep Metal.
Okay, so this episode starts in the maximal base. And what's happening? Rhinox's tassels are broken. And he can't wait to get those big old paws of his on Optimal Optimus. But the damn thing keeps shorting out.
So things are going psh, psh, psh.
Sparkety sparky. Kaplow kaplow, as they say.
No, it's not quite Kaplow territory, to be honest.
Fits.
Fits.
Heard that.
Now out in deep space, there is a ship traveling.
In deep space?
Yeah.
Could that be in the depth of space?
And then in the depth of space, there's somebody charging his fingers into buttons saying, "Find me some Protoform X." He can't go into that space because those old and wise Maximal Elders who make all those wonderful decisions that we all approve of and never lead to trouble ever go, Excuse me?
Yes?
You're not allowed to go into that space.
Huh?
I said you're not allowed to go into that space. It's forbidden.
Yes, I have taken a few years off my face.
So Depth Charge is like, whatever. I don't want to listen to this. And so the computer's like, all right, I'm just a computer.
So he goes, but against his will, because this thing opens up and it's like...
As he's being pulled into this weird wibbly-wobbly phenomenon in space, he starts to get all shiny, because something about the quantum surge is something happening and something.
Then what happens?
Inferno and Rampage are lurking outside of the Maximal base, wanting to cause a little bit of trouble. They got big plans. Inferno's gonna lure Optimus out. Rampage is gonna shoot Optimus. Best plan in the world.
Greatest plan.
Yeah, what could go wrong? Inferno's like, hey, you got it? Rampage is like, of course I got it. I'm not dumb. I've read War and Peace.
And he was like, just follow my orders, drone.
Now Rampage turns out has ADHD. And so something distracts him. There's a shiny thing in the sky. He's like, oh.
There's no shiny thing.
No, he does not even. Actually, it's true. Not even a shiny thing. He just feels something. He's like, let's go ride bikes. Because Cheetor tells Optimus that there's something coming down, Optimus is like, okay, I'll be right there. And then he flies right out there, going right past Inferno. And Inferno, he doesn't even know what to do. He's like, attack! Of course, Rampage doesn't because he just left. And so a rock falls on him.
I love that scene though where he's like...
Cheetor sees the ship come down, and it's crashing. It's not looking good, and he even knows what it is. He's like, ooh, a Star Hopper. So Cheetor goes to fly over it as it crashes into the water and starts sinking down. But guess who's already there?
Oh. Inferno.
You weren't paying attention. You see me after class.
No.
Rampage.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and he's got a gun. His face gun. And then Rampage is like, guess what? I'm a dog person. And boom, takes Cheetor right out.
Shots fired, literally.
Yeah, literally.
And then he goes to crab mode and then crawls into the water.
It's kind of creepy to watch, actually. I like
to meet his old friend.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that part. He's like, oh, I'm a pinchy. The Star Hopper lands on the bottom of the ocean, starts to scan everything, and then a manta ray swims by, all ominous-like. Mm-hmm. I wonder what his beast mode will be. Watch him be like a tuna.
A sardine. The canopy of the ship opens up, all dramatic-like. And he says, Depth Charge Maximize, and turns into beast mode for some weird reason.
But little does Depth Charge know, there's a sinking cat in the water. And cats don't like fish.
Actually, cats like fish a lot.
I meant like they're enemies, you know? Like cats eat fish. There you go.
But not this cat, because he's unconscious and in the water. And he's sinking because he's also metal. I'll save him. Why not?
I'm a good guy.
I am a Maximal, after all.
I'm a little rough around the edges. I'm a stone cold warrior with all these issues on the inside, but you know what? Deep down, I'm still a hero. I still look out for the little guy, and this little guy is a cat. He's not a catfish. So you know what? I'm gonna help him out. I'm gonna do him a solid. And then he saves him.
That was beautiful, man. That's what happened. in this episode. That's what happened. Yeah. Cheetor's like, hey, thanks for saving me. Hey, no worries. And then, Depth Charge, guess what? This is a computer in his head. He's like, hey, Protoform X is nearby. And then Depth Charge is like, let's go ride bikes. And he goes and he chases off to get Rampage, leaving Cheetor stranded on a rock because his jets aren't working and his comlink's not working, so...
And he can't ride a bike on water.
No, you can't. That's ridiculous. And then he goes whoosh, sploosh.
But what does he find in the water?
Fish.
Plankton.
Rocks.
Seaweed.
Coral reef.
Is there coral reef there? But not Protoform X.
Even though his little scout thing says, but Protoform X is right here.
Yeah, Sector 0. And he's like, nothing down there but rocks.
What
you see, I don't know if you know this, Depth Charge, he doesn't really like Protoform X. They're not the best of friends.
Turns out he didn't come all this way to give him a big old hug and say, hey, how you doing?
But you know who did decide to give someone a big old hug? Protoform X!
Comes out of the rocks and he's like, oh, my best buddy.
Oh, it's been so long.
And he gives him a good squeeze.
You know, the kind of squeeze you give your best friend.
Big old fishy underwater purple nurple. They got some history, these two.
They've got some history. Wasn't I just saying that? I was just saying that, Doug. I was just saying
he was saying
that they got
actually,
some history.
Yeah. Rampage, he gives those big old bear hugs. He's hugging a little too hard and starting to break through and crush poor Depth Charge. And so what does Depth Charge do? He lets out a little bit of gas.
And he bubbles his face.
And then he goes flying out. And Rampage is riding him like a horsey. And
he
then
transforms.
He rips through his head and then like shoots him in the head and actually
glides him like a glider.
Really not respecting each other's boundaries very well at all. Then they crash into rocks. Rampage falls into a huge spike and gets impaled. He's like, Depth Charge crashes and he's basically like, Aah! Rampage not shaken up by this whole stabbing thing in the least. He's like, it's cool. He just pulls it out. In fact, I think he kind of likes it. Mm-hmm. It just seems like he gets a certain joy out of pulling that huge stalagmite?
That's only if it's in a cave.
Oh yeah, it doesn't count as stalagmite?
I don't think so.
The big pointy rock, he pulls it out of his chest.
I could be wrong.
He could be. The question of which one of us is dumber? I think we all know the answer to that. So Rampage walks over with his huge spike and he's like, I'm just gonna stab you, dude. Depth Charge comes to just in the nick of time, does a little cool flip thing.
He does.
Yeah, and he's
a gymnast.
Yeah, turns out, he graduated from the Maximal Omicron School of Gymnastics.
Those poor bastards. It was a massacre. Yeah. So then after he does his flip and he lands, solid 7. I would say.
I don't know.
He's really? Put out some weight.
7? I give it an 8.
Nah.
No? Mr. Picky here. Glad he's not your judge.
Gotta be professional here. And he decides, I'm gonna shoot you, Rampage. And he shoots the guns out of his hand.
Rampage is like, well, whatever. My own face is a gun. And he transforms into his tank mode, blasting Depth Charge with missile after missile after missile. And actually, Depth Charge is kind of taking it like a champ.
Yeah. And then he's all like, oh, Omicron, and threw his tail thing.
Into Rampage's blowhole. And he blew it up, and he flipped around. He went, owie! And then he's like, all right, time for me to finish the job. But then Quickstrike shows up. He's like, yeah! He's a Predacon now! Yeah, Quickstrike takes him down.
Quickstrike takes him down.
Quickstrike wouldn't be able to normally, but honestly...
It was pretty bad.
Depth Charge was beat up pretty good.
I like that it showed that when he was taking the damage, it looked like he was protecting himself effectively. He was protecting himself from mortal damage, but he was still taking damage, you know what I mean?
So Optimus shows up. If I didn't mention this before, Optimus rescued Cheetor from the rock situation, so it's cool, guys. Cheetor's not stuck there. Don't worry, everybody. Optimus is making his rounds and takes out Quickstrike because, really, Quickstrike was just there to be taken out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Optimus lands. He's like, OMG.
Oh my god.
It really is him.
It really is him.
It's Depth Charge.
Depth Charge.
So Depth Charge is unconscious. He's like,
As you know, Rampage heals very quickly.
And he's gone by the time Optimus gets there.
Wait, what?
He's just gone. He left. Depth Charge is in the Maximal base getting fixed up. Optimus starts telling the Maximals all the exposition you need to know about Depth Charge.
Thank God, because I didn't know.
He sits down and he's like, hey everybody, here's some true facts about Depth Charge. They're like, tell us, Optimus. He says, Depth Charge is a Maximal. Depth Charge used to work at Colony Omicron, and Rampage killed everybody there except for him. Depth Charge didn't like that. So he went on a big ol' hunt to find Protoform X. After 4 stellar cycles, Depth Charge finally caught Protoform X, locked him up, and put him in front of the Maximal Elders. He's like,
Here, slag this fool.
bag him, you say?
No, slag him.
Okay, we'll bag him, but we only have stasis pods.
No, not pods. I want him destroyed.
Send him into a void?
No!
Go?
No!
Okay, we'll take him right away. Primal! I hear you're taking the Axelon out for a spin. It should only be a 3-hour tour. And so, yeah, then the Axelon's 3-hour tour turned out to be a lot longer than that.
With Optimus and Cheetor 2, Rat Trap and Rhinox, some stasis pods, the Professor and Marianne, here on Megatron's Isle.
Hashtag truth.
Depth Charge wakes up out of the CR chamber. So he's like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm going to go get Protoform X. And Optimus is like, so we're back in time. And then Rampage is Predacon. And there's the Ark. And Primal, how did you let this happen? I'm out of here. And then he leaves.
When you screw up, you do it big time.
And then Optimus is like, well, that...
Could have gone better.
It could have gone bad, yeah. Oh, and then underwater, there's Depth Charge's ship, and guess who's finishing the job? Rampage. He's like, hey, so glad for you to stay, because he's
a poet.
Yeah, he's a poet. He's writing a sonnet to his old friend Depth Charge. Oh, and then he blows up his ship.
The end.
The end. Predacon Ball.
Mm-hmm.
What about Deep Metal worked for you?
It really makes the character Rampage more whole, I feel like. And kind of like, Joker meets Batman and you complete me type of moment. Having Depth Charge there, I really feel like completes the whole Rampage mystery.
From the little bit of explanation we got from Optimus in Bad Spark.
Bad Spark.
Bad Spark. Rampage was...
uncontrollable.
Yeah, then...
crazy.
And they had to be locked up. It almost made him seem a little bit more like a victim.
Especially considering they created him in the first place.
And then just through this little tiny flashback, you're like, okay, they created him, he went berserk, and then they locked him up. It doesn't really talk about any level of like rehabilitation that they tried or anything like that. But this implies that Protoform X was, so to speak, rampaging through years of like killing Maximals. It had taken a while for it to come to this, for them to dump him on a planet. This implies so much more history, and I like that too. Is that it really richens up the lore of the characters and the Transformers universe.
And it immediately gives this new introduction, this new character, rather than starting from scratch and going, who is this person going to be in the Maximal or Predacon camp? He's already on a mission. He's already got history, and his history is with X. It adds a nice little sense of like, not randomness, but...
he's another unstable element.
Yeah. He's not fully in this camp.
Although the thing is that I don't for a second believe that Depth Charge would help the Predacons or assist them in any way.
No, of course.
But like he still is Maximal by allegiance, except also he's got bad blood already with Optimus Primal.
Yeah.
So like that
adds
another interesting dimension. It's actually kind of cool to see a character that knows Primal already and already has a rapport with him, but not in a good way. Primal's crew, except with maybe Rat Trap sometimes, are very loyal to him.
They believe in him as a leader.
Yeah. And also, actually, this also lends more history to Optimus Primal as well.
Yeah.
Because it shows, like, as much as we love him, he's not infallible, and he has made mistakes in the past.
But is it really his mistake? Or is it the Maximal Elder's mistakes?
No, that's all mistakes.
Because he's just following orders.
That is true. In the grand scheme of things, he is just a starship captain and has to follow the rules of the government. Mm-hmm. Although I get an impression from the dialogue between him and Depth Charge that Optimus was sparing Protoform X's life. That's just sort of an implication. It's not outright said, but I get the impression that was the case from what they're saying.
What about you? What did you like?
I also do like Depth Charge as a character.
Me too.
He's pretty cool. You know, it's nice to see a Maximal with that shade of gray.
There's like Dinobot, but Dinobot was a Predacon. He's a bit more self-indulgent than the Maximals are. They're more selfless, and they're putting their lives on hold for the greater good, and he doesn't care about anything but his one goal, and that's to get revenge on somebody who has wronged him in the past.
Even though he says in the episode, it's not revenge, it's justice.
Justice.
But actually it's revenge. Let's be honest, Depth Charge. This is revenge. It could be justice as well, but it's revenge. You know, even little things in this episode that I liked, like the more minor characters, like Cheetor, I thought they used him really well. The poor kitty cat, he's just a fish out of water, so to speak. He's just completely out of his element. He's stranded on a rock. He's like, oh, like
This sucks.
He's like, I want to do something, but I can't. I think that this wound up being a pretty solid script. It does sort of unlock one of the things that does really kind of work about season 3 is this Depth Charge story. I think this is a great start to that.
I think so too.
Yeah.
The fact that he butts heads with Primal is just awesome.
He's like, I don't know why you're so big and why you're so shiny, but I don't care.
Pretty much everything about this
Yeah.
episode is how he fits nicely into the whole Beast Wars picture. And it didn't feel shoehorned in or anything like that. Oh, one of the things that, speaking of shoehorns, unlike in Optimal Situation, they utilized his transformations very well. And stylistically, I might add. To go from like maximizing into a manta ray.
Then yeah, him turning into the flying cool manta ray that goes, and it just all makes sense. He just launches himself up and then turns back into a manta ray and then slams into the water.
Yeah.
Like really cool things like that. Yeah.
Really, really like adds like a flair and a style to his character, and there's a fluidity to him going from flight mode to his beast mode that just really, really works with his character.
It's actually a pretty cool fight as well. I mean, I just remember like going like whoa when I was younger with the spike through Rampage's chest, and he just like rips it out, and it's like
It's like,
and it heals up. And the things that didn't work.
I don't think Optimus needed to really go through the exposition with the team. About 4 stellar cycles ago, some bad things happened, and Omicron, and the only survivor, and none of that stuff matters. Because we've already got the dialogue between Depth Charge, and we've got the dialogue between Rampage. Clearly, there's some bad blood between them. Rampage is using the event that is like the incident that changed Depth Charge's life forever as a stick to poke him with and prod him with. And that right there adds miles of history that's better than any exposition.
It was already implied, all that stuff is true. It did kind of feel redundant by the time we got to it. Maybe what it really could have used is an opening crawl, like in Star Wars. I feel like you're right. It is a little bit too heavy-handed. It did kind of like bring the episode to a halt, right near the end when it should have been like just finishing up.
But beyond that, I would say this episode is above reproach.
Here's something I didn't like, if I may, Predacon Ball.
You made Decepticon, Doug.
This is something I've never understood, and I never felt like I got any decent explanation for. It just drives me nuts. Why does he say maximize and go into beast mode? Why does he say maximize and go into beast mode? Why? You can't just change the rules of the show. That's what they do. They say beast mode, turn to beast mode. They say maximize, they turn to robots.
They go Morphin Time! Tyrannosaurus! And they turn into a Power Ranger.
Yes! If they could give me any sort of explanation as to why, maybe I could live with that, but they just don't. And I hate it. I'm clearly taking it too personally. But I just can't stand it. That's all.
After close to no deliberation, Douglas and I are going to give this episode
5 out of 5 crashed Starhoppers.
Is this essential viewing? Yes, of course it is. It's got a good action there so that we've got action. It's got great characters in there to give you character.
This is some essential Beast Wars viewing because it kind of retroactively makes the lore of Beast Wars so much more interesting. That whole backstory just really fleshes things out so we can overlook some of the shortcomings for the sake of the fact that it does bring so much more to the table than what it knocks off. It just hides a little bit of broccoli under the table, but the main meal is still there. Broccoli is actually a really good vegetable. It's very healthy for you, everybody.
I like that.
I don't care for it myself, but I wish I did so that I could eat more of it and be healthier than I am. Please like and subscribe and share your thoughts on deep metal in the comments down below. We would really appreciate the feedback. I don't know about you, Predacon. I love chatting with our audience.
So do I.
Comments.
Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your cousins, tell your dog,
Call your wife. Call your kids.
tell your mom.
Look, everybody, we're very funny. And if you don't agree with us, tell us in the comments down below.
We're coming up with this shit on the spot, okay?